Hi, my name's Stacy Kearns. I'm an artist, and I am so excited to be a part of this really special project, Shine at Seton Canvas Painting Night. Now, hopefully, you've already got your box. So you've got your box with everything that you need to create this amazing painting. Maybe you're with a small group of friends. Maybe you're with your family. Maybe you're all by yourself. Either way, I'm excited for you to get to do this. I really can't wait to see your projects. So definitely post those for us. They'll give you a hashtag that you can post those to. And I just can't wait for you to have this really special painting shine at Seton. I just finished mine a little bit ago, and I'm just going to give you a few tips on how I completed mine, but I want you to know that yours should be as special as you are. Everyone is unique and different. Everyone shines in their own way, and I want your artwork to do that too. So I am here in my studio. I want to go over just a couple of things that you're going to need, and then I'll demonstrate a couple things. So one thing I want you to know, what you need is inside this box. I will be suggesting a couple of other things that you may have in your kitchen or around your house. When you open up your box, inside you are going to find your canvas. Let me tell you about how special this canvas is. So as I said before, I'm an artist. My mission as an artist is to spread love, joy, hope, and healing through the power of art. So that's what I do. What makes my art special is I do paintings and the first step of my painting is I create the image with something called joint compound. It's actually like a building material, but if you look really closely and you kind of feel that, that is the joint compound. So I have already prepared your canvas for you with this great texture. So that's our sun. We've already stenciled for you. I had a really great team helping me. We stenciled for you Shine at Seton. That way, that would be on there and you can just simply paint it in. So it's gonna be fun. You're gonna have a great painting at the end. And I know you're gonna have a great time whether you're by yourself or with a small group of friends. So you should have your canvas. The other thing that you should have in there are two paintbrushes. So you should have a bigger paintbrush and a smaller paintbrush. I know you've had art class before, but I'm just kind of going to go over what things are used for and why we're going to use those. So I packed a bigger paintbrush in there. So some of the bigger areas, like let's say the background, could be painted with that bigger paintbrush, and then that smaller one is so you can get in those details and kind of get in those small spaces. So you'll be using both of those. The other thing that's inside are your paints. So, and I put them inside this little Ziploc bag so nothing should have opened on its way to you. So you're just going to take that out of the bag and get it ready. Now, let me talk to you about this paint. There's acrylic paint in here. Acrylic paint does not come out of clothes. So thinking of that, what I want you to do is either have on an old shirt or like I've got an apron that I wear. So I'm going to get my apron on. Definitely pull up sleeves. You do not want to get the paint on your clothes. You don't want to get it on your furniture. So if you're doing this at home, one great thing is the weather's been great and you can do it outside, or you could do it in your kitchen, you could do it in your garage, maybe a basement, somewhere where you've got a table. You can see my table is covered with a tablecloth. So this is just a plastic tablecloth. I do that so I don't ruin the table underneath. I've got that on there. So if I get paint on it, it's no big deal. So an apron, definitely cover that table. Once you get those paints, you can go ahead and open up those paints. They just pop open like this. And what I typically do is pop each one open. I love that you have your own set of paints because you can mix and match all you want with these paints, and I love that for you. So you can go ahead and open up all of those paints. If you need help, you should be okay. But I was going to say, grab a mom or a dad or a grandma. They can help get those open for you. So I've got my paints all open. It should look like that. I've got my paintbrushes. I've got my canvas, and all of that is going to be right there in front of me. Now, the other thing that you might want to grab from your kitchen is a pencil. If for some reason you wanted to add anything to your design, you could add it with that pencil. A paper towel. I always grab a few paper towels because when you clean off your paintbrush, you're going to want to dry it off. Speaking of that, I use just a little red Solo cup. Any kind of cup that you can put water in. I've got my water in there because I'll want to wash that paintbrush off. Also, I grabbed a paper plate. If I color mix, I do it with a paper plate. I want to talk to you just for a second about those colors that you have in the color palette. So the colors of Seton are green, and I thought, wouldn't it be fun to have these great green Shine at Seton artworks. So I've got dark green in here for you, light green. I put some yellow in case, and you can see I did a little bit of yellow there on my sun. And of course you can do yours any color that you want. A friend of mine painted this one. I thought this was cute. And she did hers yellow as well. And just kind of, she actually did light yellow on the background of that entire thing. I've got white. If you add, now you can use white as I did. You can see I used white to add dots to the word Seton. You can use white as a color, but you can also, if you mix any of these colors with white, it'll get lighter. I've got black, which you can see I use to outline some things. If you add black to any of these colors, it'll make it darker. And then at the end, you'll have a surprise glitter. Each box was different. I did some gold, some silver, some green, there's all different kinds of sparkly colors, and that's just for fun. So those are added on. So I've got everything I need set up right here. Now, one other thing that I use that you may want to, actually I use what's called a heat gun, and that's for, let's say I just painted the green Seton, and what I do is I turn that little heat gun on and dry it just like this. Now if you don't have a heat gun like I do, the other thing you can use is a little hair dryer. So I have this little travel hair dryer, and you can use that to dry it off just the same. If you don't have a hair dryer, or you know your parents don't want you to use that, you can just let it air dry. But the hair dryer just speeds up the process a little bit. So I've got all my supplies here. I'm ready to get started. What I'm going to do is I'm going to switch the camera so it's over the painting, so I can just kind of show you a few quick techniques. And then I want you to just go and have a great time painting. Again, I can't wait to see these Shine at Seton canvas paintings. So definitely share those with us. And I can't wait too to hear where you're going to hang it. You know, maybe put it in your room, maybe in your bathroom, somewhere fun like that. So, all right, we'll get started. Okay, so now I'm all ready to paint. I've got my paint, I've got my paintbrush, brushes, I've got my water and my paper towel. So the first thing I did when I created my canvas was I painted the background. One reason I do that is backgrounds usually are easier, I think, and I kind of just start by getting started with that painting with a simple color in the background. So that's what I did. The other thing that I loved was I used this light green. And when I did that, I found even if I painted over the words, I could still see them. Which I was really happy. So I didn't have to go around every single one of those letters. So that worked out really well for me. So you can see I'm just kind of going on here. Now when I did mine, I did avoid that plaster right there and not paint on top of that. But I went ahead and painted, and you can see how I can still see those letters. So I'll be able to paint those in once this green dries. And that's a perfect example of what I will do is paint this background and then come back with my heat gun or my hair dryer and dry it off before I go to the next step. Now, I know that you've learned about color blending and mixing in art class, I'm sure, over the years. If you wanted to add anything to this, you sure could. If you wanted to make that a little bit lighter, I could mix in some yellow down here, and you can see I can mix that right on my painting, or I could even grab a paper plate and I could do some color mixing on that paper plate. So here is my background. I'm not going to take up your time doing this entire painting. I just wanted to show you a few things and a few tips just to kind of get you started. So like I said, at this point, what I would do, once I finish painting that whole background, I would come back with a hairdryer and kind of dry that. If you don't have the hairdryer, you can just kind of let it dry, or just go ahead right on in. I'm going to put my paintbrush in my water right now. Also, this small paintbrush, that's what's really good about getting in those small areas and getting those small details. So you'll want to use that small paintbrush for that. And when you're ready to use a new color, just simply wash it off in the water, and that's where I dry it with the paper towel. So a couple little tips of things that I did. Again, I started with the background and completely painted that in. The next thing I did was I painted the sun. So my background and the sun were completely covered. The next thing I did was I used the small paintbrush to go ahead and I used this darker green to paint in my letters. And the nice thing is we already have that stenciled on there for you. So all you're gonna do is just follow those lines and paint it in. Now, if I wanted this green to be darker, there's a couple things I could do. One thing I could do, you have plenty of it in there. One thing you can do is let this dry and then put on another coat. When you put on the next coat, it will get darker. Let me see if I can kind of show you really quickly. If I add, and you can see it already. I added another coat there. You can see the difference about how much darker that is. Now, let me give you a great tip that I absolutely love. To do the dots, and let me just show you. I did dots down here. I also did dots around the outside to make a little frame, which I thought was fun. I could have done dots back here. Gosh, you could do the dots anywhere. But my tip is I used the back of my paintbrush. Now, I used the back of this bigger paintbrush, and all I did was I dipped the tip in that paint, and then you just go straight up and down to get those dots. And again, I waited until it was dry, but you can see how if you just go straight up and down, it makes a nice little dot for you, just like that. The other thing that I did was I added the glitter, which, oh my gosh, I just love adding the glitter. You could add that anywhere. I waited until it was dry. My paint was dry. And you can see in this one, I have some silver. I think that would be really pretty. But that you can paint right over. Gosh, you could paint this over your entire painting and the whole thing would sparkle. You could paint it over the sun. You could even just make this sparkle the background. So let's say I didn't even paint it in, I just wanted the background sparkly. You can just paint that right on. And again, I would let that dry before you painted anything else on top. I know this is looking like a mess, but I just wanted you to kind of see some different techniques and different things that you could do. As far as shadowing goes, so if and I'm hoping that you can see it with the yellow. If I dip into this yellow and I wanted to make this sun yellow, I could make a highlight on this sun by just dipping into that white and putting a little bit of white on that outside edge. And that just gives it a nice little highlight. just like that. And a shadow would be if I wanted to make it darker. I don't think with the yellow I will, but if I wanted to, I could just mix up a little bit of darker yellow, maybe adding a tiny bit of black or a darker color, and then adding that in there. So here's the other thing. I always paint the top, and the top, the bottom, and the sides whenever I'm doing an artwork. That just makes it finished. You'll see on mine, once I painted everything, I went back with my tiny paintbrush in black and outlined that. Now, my friend didn't. Let me show you my friend's. She didn't, and I think that this looks great too. So it's totally up to you what you want to do. She also added some sparkles on the word shine, which I think is super fun. And you can see she added some sparkles on that sun. So just some different ideas. But as far as outlining, what I did, I just dipped my small paintbrush in that paint and very carefully went around the outside. Now you can see I kind of smeared that white. That's because that wasn't dry. I would definitely dry that first before. So I am so excited for you to get to create your own shine at Seton. Don't forget, definitely tag us in your picture. We want to see them. And we'd love to see any kind of pictures of you guys working on these. So good luck. Have a great, great time. We can't wait for you to shine at Seton.